You can now contribute to DDR's efforts at bringing you the latest in aerospace and defense indigenous development by contributing through UPI. We really value all your contributions. Thank you for everyone who's contributed so far. You could also join the DDR community on YouTube right here by clicking on the join link in the description below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to be notified every time we post a new video.
Okay, thanks for spending time with us, ANKUSH. It's actually very nice to see somebody who's starting out from a very small scale to develop something that's a big market in the international scene. So, how did you start up with the whole idea of developing handguns? Because there are so many companies that do it, right?
See, if I have to say how it all started, I graduated back about 3 years ago. I'm a BE mechanical graduate. While I was in the college itself, I was very much interested into aerospace and defense. So when I tried to find out what problem statements are bothering our armed forces, and I found out that assault rifle was the assault rifle, which is the basic infantry weapon, basic weapon of our infantry. So the most basic weapon of the Indian Army, the assault rifle used by a million strong army, is the Indian Army has been in search for last 10 years. So I took up this problem statement against all the odds. With the permission from the authorities, I made a design, and I got with the permissions. I visited army bases all around India. I interacted with the soldiers, what exactly are the problems in the currently used service rifle, and what do they want in the new service rifle. As well as I also fiddled with the weapons that they had, indigenous as well as imports. With that, I came up with a final design. I made a prototype with the facilities using in the facilities in our college itself, and we fired it successfully also in the DGQA range. Now coming to this day, we made our own startup. We built a startup. We got a license from MHA, and today we have our own manufacturing facility, a small manufacturing facility, and an indoor testing range. We have developed India's first indigenous pistol. See, 75 years of India's freedom, our police forces or our defense forces are still using World War II era pistols made by the Ordnance Factory. Although some special forces have imported pistols from the outside, till today majority of the forces still use World War II era outdated pistols, and these pistols have proven to be unreliable and unsafe during firefights, which was widely reported during 26/11/2. So
You're talking about the police forces primarily.
Police forces primary arm. The pistol, as we all know, is the primary sidearm or the primary weapon of the police, and it is the sidearm of the personal defense weapon of the defense forces. So this we took up this challenge, and with the inputs from serving as well as veteran officers of police as well as armed forces, we came up with Atal, India's first indigenous pistol. Atal is a unique in the fashion that it is a modular handgun as the 21st century, which means that 100% components are interchangeable, first thing. And second thing, by simply reconfiguring certain components, you can configure it from a concealed carry to a regular carry to a duty pistol, which means that it can take a 15-round magazine for concealed carry, and it can take a 17-round magazine for your regular carry, and a 21-round magazine for a duty carry. And the main primary feature that we would like to highlight is the safety. Many handguns all over the world, it could be the Brazilian handguns or it could be the American handguns too, the new US sidearm, the P320 what they call it, even that has drop safety issues, which has been widely reported in media, which means that if the pistol is dropped accidentally, it will fire on its own. If it is bumped accidentally, it will fire on its own. So this was a primary consideration during the design phase itself. What we have done is we have included an explicit drop safety feature, which means this handgun that you are seeing here has 3 internal safeties: the trigger safety, the striker safety, and explicit drop safety feature, which means that I can proudly claim this is this is a handgun with maximum number of safeties in the world. The third aspect that I would like to highlight is the ergonomics. The ergonomics, the grip angle has been designed in such a way that it is instinctive in nature. It comes naturally to you. You need not train extensively to achieve that proper grouping with this weapon. The fourth feature is of course the reliability. normally modular handguns have more than 50 parts, and we were able to achieve this modular handgun in just 31 parts. And this has a proprietary action system, a patented action system, which and this has 3 patents on this. We have 3 patents on this handgun, especially on this fire control unit. When I mentioned modular earlier, I also meant that this has a single FCU, what we call a single unit which can be replaced easily for ease of maintenance as well as for configuring to different applications.
What does the fire control unit have inside it?
It's basically a trigger mechanism. The heart of an car is an engine. Similarly, the heart of this pistol is the FCU, the fire control unit. So, in fact, if I have to say in that legal aspect, the fire control unit is your firearm. This is just a polymer casing for that. So, you can simply replace this polymer casing from this to maybe another configuration as per the user's needs.
And how did you come up with the design? Because handgun designs has been refined over multiple decades.
Yes.
And there are reputed manufacturers who have reputed gunsmiths who
Yes.
give a lot of insight. So, as somebody who's just started out and you don't have a lot of industry experience either.
Yes.
So, how did you drill down to a design that works at first go? And I know it's a run-on question, but how did you make friends with the people in the services and police forces? How did they take you seriously, and how were you able to do it? The reason for my question is because a lot of people are like you, who are willing to do important things, and so that they can learn from your experience and they can put it in their practice and they can achieve whatever they want. So you're like a role model. So whatever you say, I'm pretty sure they'll also learn from it.
See, I went with the simple path. There are different paths to approach the right people. I went with a very straightforward path. I wrote to the relevant authorities. I wrote to them officially that I have an design, I have an idea, and I want to discuss that with you. And because of government's renewed push for Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, most of the officials in the defense ministry are quite supportive and encouraging.
Okay.
So they allowed me to meet them. They gave me their time, and we met them couple of times, and they gave us the necessary permissions to visit the army bases and interact with the soldiers. And even the soldiers were quite enthusiastic because what we were developing was an 100% indigenous product, Indian product. See, I can among these Defense Expo, we have many participants here, but I can proudly claim this is an Indian design, Indian development and Indian manufacturing, which I suppose no one can claim apart from maybe DRDO. Apart from DRDO, in the private sector, no one can claim that. And so to answer your question on how we are able to come up with this design, see, there are only 2 things that have binded us, our team from the start, from the college. One is our passion towards engineering. Even in our college days, we have been always fascinated by drones, robots, or even arms for that matter. So we are engineers. I mean, we like to build things, we like to design things, and we like to refine them day by day. And one is that factor, the passion for engineering. The second factor that influenced us was the nationalism. We are all nationalists. I mean, to us, this is a service. This is not only the business is for a legal purpose, I can say. What we are doing, we consider it as a tiny give back to our nation. So these 2 factors motivate us to make things better, because ultimately this would be used by the soldiers on the border. This would be used by the police in the field, and this cannot go wrong. There is no chance in that.
And can you talk us about your team that you have? How did you start, and
Yes.
what is your size of your team now? And funding, obviously. How did you start up, and where you are right now in terms of funding?
When I actually started, I started alone. I mean, I worked for maybe 2 years at least alone. I went around places. I designed on my own. I built things from outside vendors. But now I have built a team, and this team consists of people whom I have worked in college. As my juniors, as my teammates during college days. All fresher team. There is no experienced individual per se. We are all freshers, which means that we have fresh ideas also. Although lack of experience slows down a bit, but our energy and our speed, compensates for that. As far as funding is concerned, currently we are bootstrapped. I mean, whatever we are doing with our own funds. Our own funds means whatever is given by our parents. and we have made a factory ready in Hubli, Karnataka, with a bank loan, commercial bank loan. So this factory, integrated factory, is spread over 2 acres. It has an integrated R&D section, manufacturing, and as well as a indoor-proof firing range.
So have you sought for funds from there are various agencies right now who are willing to fund startups, right? Make
Yes.
in India and all of that is pretty big now.
Yes.
DRDO has an EDF.
Yeah.
And hopefully other agencies also. Have you sought them out to help you along?
Small arms is such a sector that it is regarded somewhat as untouchable in Indian defense sector, if I have to be frank. Even with the defense fundings that you claim, which wherever government is involved, they generally shy away from small arms. Unlike drones or UAVs, or the AI/ML that is trending now, small arms is not given that kind of importance, if I have to be frank, being in the industry. But as far as the funding generally is concerned, we haven't sought any external funding so far. But perhaps to scale it up, because we are in small industry, what we are doing is in small scale. But perhaps to scale it up, we'll be looking for fundings in the coming days. So this is Bharat 56. Bharat 56 is India's first private sector 5.56 carbine. Again, this is like our other products. This is indigenous designed, developed and manufactured right in our India. 100% of the components for the prototype have been procured or have been made in India itself. So if I have to say about the weapons features, this is a short stroke tappet type piston system. See, as I have been saying, in assault rifles we have 2 major philosophies. We have AR-15 based design, we have AK-47 based design, AK or AKM based design. See, both of them have their own advantages. AR-15 is known for their gold standard ergonomics. The kind of balance and the ergonomics that you get in AR-15 is unparallelable. Whereas AK-47 features the ultra reliability. It is ultra reliable and ultra robust that you cannot find elsewhere. So what we did was AR-15 has its own problem, the direct impingement system, which makes the weapon quite unreliable over time. So Bharat 56, as I have been saying, features a monolithic upper receiver, aircraft grade aluminum upper receiver, and a aircraft grade aluminum lower receiver too. What we have tried to do here is combine the gold standard ergonomics of AR-15. AR-15, as you know, has perfect balance, has perfect ergonomics, and it's quite smooth firing per se when you compare to the other rifles. So what we have done is to get that best features, that kind of ergonomics into a piston-based system. This is not an AR-15 with a piston. That is not what we did. What we did is we built this design from ground up. We made this design from ground up to be a piston system, but with the ergonomics of AR-15. That was quite.
The barrel, do you make it yourself? Do you get it from somebody?
For now, we are making it ourselves. Although it's not made to the required standards. For the pistol barrels, we have streamlined the process already. It's quite a small length and the requirements are different there. But for the carbine barrels, we'll be importing probably, or we'll be sourcing it from some other entity. But our intention is ultimately to make it 100% indigenous. Because the design is Indian, the development is Indian, the manufacturing we hope it to be completely Indian.
And the polymers?
The polymer is all being made in India itself.
Okay.
So this features an foldable and length adjustable stock, and it has ambidextrous controls completely, which means all the controls like charging handle, magazine release, all are both for the left-handed as well as right-handed users. It features an adjustable gas system, for suppressed shooting or for shooting in an very dusty environment. This comes into picture there. It uses a standard Stanag magazine.
Weight, empty,
This weighs about 3 kilos with the empty magazine.
and damage length.
The length is about 750 mm, quite compact for this kind of weapon.
Firing rate.
The firing rate so far we have achieved is 650 rounds per minute.
Okay.
Although we are trying to, yes, the sustained would be much lower because it's a 30 round magazine.
Okay. And firing mode, single line.
It has single semi, it is a semi-automatic, fully automatic and safe mode. It has controls similar to your AR-15.
Got it.
So that the user has, is familiar. Even the 6716 that Indian Army has imported for the emergency requirement, when that is a AR-15 basically, AR-15 platform. So the user will be having the same kind of controls but in a better, reliable platform.
And the ammunition, you're working on composite ammunition? Is
Exactly. We are developing composite case ammunition. Composite case ammunition in replacement of the conventionally brass cased ammunition. See, brass, as we know, is not only heavier but also expensive, and it is a strategic material. India is a net importer of copper. So in war times, we will be in a very tricky situation. So what we are trying to do is keep the projectile same. We are keeping the projectile same, the propellant same, and the primer too. But we are playing with the case geometry, inside geometry, and the case material.
And you're working with somebody because you will need explosive license and everything?
We already have the license for the manufacturing and proof testing from MHA.
Okay.
So as far as the composite case ammunition is concerned, we are developing it on our own, but we don't have the resources to scale it up. So maybe in the coming days we'll be tying up with somebody, who has the resources to scale it up.
Yeah, well, best of luck with your
Thank you.
efforts, right? Let's hope the carbine wins and the handgun wins all the police
Sure. Thank you.
army trials, right? So, thank you so much for your time. It was great
Thank you.
meeting you finally in person.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.